Hello, welcome to Britpop Reactor on me, BP1, no BP2. We're here to give you a bit more content, and today I'm here with 13 etiquette rules in the US that surprise tourists. So, you know, interesting. We've done some different videos on the US now on the channel. Myself and BP2 have done quite a few. This one popped up and I thought, yeah, why not? Let's dig into it and have a look. 13 etiquette rules. Alright, well, you know, we've got our own standards in the UK, what we expect people to do and don't. You know, open doors for you and stuff like that. Well, I know in Asia, very, very different rules, actually. I was watching a program the other day about that. Nobody opens the door for anybody out in Japan. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. So, let's see what the US thinks. You know, what we think of some of the stuff that you guys do out there. Let's get into it. And this is brought to you by Brits.
So our parents teach us to be polite, but what you learned as a kid doesn't always apply when you're in another part of the world. So if you're heading to the US anytime soon, I've got some tips for you on what we Americans consider the rules of etiquette and some stuff that's totally okay in the US that other countries might consider rude.
Alright, yeah.
Let's start off with my favorite, food etiquette.
Food, yeah.
Number 1. Feel free to ask for some condiments. If you're eating out and your food is tasting a little bland, it's completely fine to ask for salt, pepper, or sauces to add a little zing to your meal. I know some places in Europe see it as an insult to the chef.
That's true,
if you start adding a little spice of your own. But don't worry about that in the US. Nobody's going to be offended or give you weird looks if you ask the waiter for a bottle of ketchup. Even if you're at someone's house visiting, they won't see it as a jab to their culinary skills either.
No,
some
we're very
just like it
similar
spicier than others.
Salt, pepper. I'd expect it on the table anyway. We put it on the table anyway.
Number 2. Always tip. Okay, well,
we've done this
maybe
before.
not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on. And only if the service was really awful.
Not because I'm an
But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip. The rule is 15 to 20% of the bill.
Wow.
So get ready to do some mental math each time you eat out. I've heard that tipping isn't a thing in some countries, especially in East Asia, where restaurant staff always provide good service no matter what. But in the US, it's simply a sign of gratitude that your waiter did a good job, even though they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to.
Very true.
Number 3. Clean up after yourself at fast food restaurants. Of course, if you're going to the States, I imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of those than your traditional sit and be served by a waiter types of places. But anyways, if you're finished eating and your tray is now full of wrappers, used napkins, and empty boxes, take it to the trash can and dispose of the garbage yourself. Most fast food places don't have a separate cleaning staff for that.
No,
it's pretty much always the cashier that needs to find time between ringing people up to go clean up the dining area. So we try to help them out a bit and clean up after ourselves.
Yeah, we do as well. We try to do that, I think.
Number 4.
UK, definitely.
Open gifts immediately in front of the giver. Now, I was pretty surprised when I found out that opening a gift as soon as you get it is considered bad manners in certain parts of the world. I guess some cultures see it as kind of greedy when you start tearing into a present right away.
I don't know, it depends.
In the US, it's pretty much the opposite. Open it as soon as you...
I'll pause it just on this bit because when it comes to presents, depends what it is. If it's your birthday and it's on the day of your birthday and someone gives you the present, then you go open it, right? But if I'm given a present, let's say on a Saturday, and my birthday is not until Wednesday or Tuesday, I don't open it. Oh no, we've got like this rule. I suppose it could be rules on family, but I would say the general rule is you open that present on your birthday, and it's probably the same on the US, but maybe if someone's there in front of you, even though your birthday's not for a little while, we wouldn't open it. I wouldn't open it there in front of them. I would open it probably at home with them not around on my birthday. I don't know if that's weird out there or not, but that's generally what we do. Same as Christmas. I mean, we have you know, the Christmas presents they get bought, they're not open there and then. They're open on Christmas morning under the tree. I would imagine that's pretty much the same everywhere, right? So maybe when they say this is gifts, maybe it's like just ad hoc gifts. I don't know, but which we would probably open there and then. But for birthdays, weddings, any other like event, we would wait until that day, whether you're around or not, if you've given it to us.
You get it right in front of the giver. That way, they can see your reaction and you can thank them right there on the spot. There are also no rules about using both hands or a certain hand when giving or receiving a gift. Just grab it and open it already.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Number 5. Be ready for small talk. How about that game last night? Whew! When's this weather gonna let up already? Yes, Americans love small talk, so don't be surprised if a stranger just starts chatting with you while you're waiting in line or sharing an elevator.
Yeah,
it could be sports, the weather, traffic, anything, just to have a short, light conversation.
Talk about the weather, 100%.
I can't really say why we like talking to people we don't even know. But, I mean, if you're sharing a space with someone, are you just going to totally ignore their presence? That'd be awkward. Oh yeah, and you'll get asked how you're doing a lot, even by strangers. It's usually waiters and cashiers that'll greet you with a, "Hi, how are you today?" Just answer with "Fine," and you? Even if you're not exactly having a fantastic day.
Don't really expect a
Number
full
6.
answer.
Expect a lot of smiles. First of all, let me bust the myth that Americans constantly walk around smiling ear to ear. Nobody does that, because that'd be weird.
No?
But again, if you're sharing a space and making small talk with a stranger, or maybe someone opens or holds the door for you, they'll smile at you. And it's polite if you do the same.
Yeah,
cashiers and waiters also greet you with a big, friendly smile. I read somewhere that this goes back to our early history as a country built by people who all spoke different languages. They didn't understand each other all that well, so they just smiled. But I still think we just like to be open and kind. Number 7.
I think we're very
respect the bubble. Now, here's a pretty funny thing about Americans. We're friendly, we love to chat, but we also really like our personal bubble. The unspoken rule is to stand about an arm's length away when you're talking with someone. We're also not too big on touching during conversation, because this can be misconstrued as a way of flirting. Of course, the rule doesn't apply with close friends and family, but still, even then, most Americans aren't too touchy-feely.
Okay, well,
Number
we
8.
are. I would say
And
we can
definitely
be a bit more touchy-feely in the UK. We're certainly not on the European side. Europeans will greet you with 2 kisses on either cheek. Well, a kiss on either cheek. Maybe you can go back for a third. Look at number 8. Definitely no kissing. Well, I'm ahead of the game. Touchy-feely. Yeah, we're not really too touchy-feely people. I don't think. We are more so, I think, than the US, but we're not massively touchy-feely. But we will embrace on different handshakes that are a little bit more closer, or hug on the back or something. Just a little bit more than just your traditional handshake or your hello. No kissing.
No kissing. I know in countries like Spain and France, people often greet each other with a peck or 2 on the cheek. There might be some Americans who greet the European way, but overall, we don't kiss each other as a way to say hi. Again, my personal bubble is my sanctuary, so don't come in it with puckered lips ablazing. It's best to just say hi, smile, and keep it at that. Number 9. Being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of the loud American tourist might ring true most of the time, since we tend to project our voices, even out in public. It's not that we're yelling all the time, but I'd say we certainly speak louder than people in Europe or Asia. I've gotten some friendly reminder to take it down a few decibels when visiting my friends abroad. But hey, if you're ever in the States, feel free to laugh out loud or get particularly animated while telling a joke. But of course, there's a time and place for that. You still have to hush down in places like libraries. Shh.
So be loud and proud.
Number
is what
10.
he's saying.
Indirectness is politeness. So here's the thing about Americans. A direct, no, I don't want, or like that, is seen as pretty rude. But if an American gives you a polite, no thanks, I'd rather not, or I don't think that's the best idea, that doesn't mean that they're on the fence about it. No means no, even if it's said indirectly and super politely. It's frowned upon to try and convince someone to do something or change their mind because it's seen as pushy and disrespectful to their wishes. Number 11.
Yeah, I guess
sit in the back seat of a cab.
I'd say, yeah.
Now this is something interesting I found out about Australia and New Zealand. There, it's considered rude to take the back seat of a cab because it's almost like you're showing that you expect to be chauffeured by someone who's lower than you. Well, don't worry about that in the US. In fact, you should ride in the back seat because the driver might give you a weird look otherwise. It's not an elitist thing, and you can still make friendly small talk from the back.
Stop it there, because we do exactly the same. I mean, obviously in London, the black cabs, you can't even get in. You can't get in the front with a cabbie. End of. You're in the back, no matter what. And in general, that's okay. That's fine. I mean, the only time normally I sit in the front next to the taxi driver is if there's, if there's two of you going, you both sit in the back. But if I'm on my own, I've sat in the front before next to the cabbie, had a chat, got on holiday. There's two in the back already, so you sit in the front. It's not like nobody ever sits in the front. Certainly of our normal, what we call taxis. But yeah, London cabbies, you're always in the back, without a doubt.
Just respect the driver's personal bubble. That's all.
Fair play.
Number 12. Feel free to keep your shoes on inside.
Yes, we've done this in the last
I had a friend from Russia recently ask me, why is it that in all American movies, people are walking around their house with their shoes on? And I just told him straight up, because that's what we do.
I don't wear my shoes inside.
Now, there are plenty of families here that don't have a no shoes indoors policy, although I'd say the majority don't. So here's a good rule of etiquette to live by if you ever visit an American's home. When you walk in, ask if you should take your shoes off at the door. If they say, nah, you're okay, don't feel bad about walking around their house in your shoes. I know it seems bizarre to most people around the world, but it's A-okay here. 13. It's okay to keep it casual.
We said this before. We've got a lot of car, because Britain's not particularly the warmest, right? We don't have air conditioning in the summer, so we sort of have a bit of a hybrid around, wooden or tiled floors or, carpet. But you'll find carpet a lot, because it's normally colder here than it is warmer. So you'll see carpet a lot in the UK. And that's why with shoes, I mean, it's all right with hard floors because it's not that big a deal. We just get the mop out or steam cleaner, done. But with that on the carpet, it's not great, is it? Because, with our weather, it's always trampsing in leaves, mud, they're normally wet, and all that on the carpet is just going to make a mess. It's bad enough here, 2 or 3 years with a carpet, and it already looks like it's been there for 10 years, and you're looking at it thinking, oh, do we need to get this done again? So, for me, in Britain, if you're coming here, I wouldn't just waltz in. I expect people to take their shoes off at the front door. They might ask me, say, oh, do you want me to take my shoes off? I was like, oh, yeah, if you don't mind, if we're going in the front room, but if we're going in the back, then maybe not, because we walk straight through. Hallway's not got any carpet or anything, so it depends. But as a general rule, even if I went to someone's house, I'd probably just take my shoes off. There you go. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, it's okay to keep it casual. Okay.
Overall, I'd say the biggest thing about Americans is that most of us are pretty casual and laid back. If you're ever out and about in the U.S., you'll see a lot of people running errands in sweatpants, gym shorts, baseball caps, and even their PJs. But it's not just about clothes either. We often keep it on a first-name basis, even with people that are generally referred to more formally in other countries. For example, most of the time your boss is just Jim or Janet, not Mr. or Mrs. Jones. You might start off more formally, but I guarantee you that person will say right off the bat, hey, call me Jim. Now, what would be weird is if their name isn't Jim. Maybe it's Howard or Benny. Then what you say is, "Hey, call me a cab." So, are any of these Americanisms different or the same in your country? And to all my fellow Americans, can you add anything to the list?
I would say that most of them are very similar. We're very similar in etiquette, I think. There are just like a couple there that that may be a bit different, but I think overall, you know, we're very, very similar people, the Brits in the US. But yeah, there are differences. You know, when there's American around, normally, and you know, with the shoesy bits, you know, it's different. We're a little bit more reserved, I think, in the UK. Not that any of that's a bad thing or a good thing. You know, I think it's great that you have the confidence and stuff to just be who you are in your own country and any other country. We're just quite quiet and reserved, and even. But when we're out and about, you know, we're quite good at adapting to other people's culture, unless we are 18-year-olds going to Spain, and then we have a bad rep. But yeah, other than that, there you go. Thank you so much for joining me today for the 13 etiquette. What does it say? Surprise us tourists. It didn't surprise me too much. We've done some of these before on the channel, but at the same time, it's always good to rethink, you know, get my own point of view on it. And you know, I love reading your comments, so make sure you hit the comments and do come with me and BP2, because we will both be back tomorrow for another reaction. Until then, it's just a goodbye from me tonight. Enjoy your evening. Goodbye.